So it looks for all money that United are set to replace Wan-Bissaka with Mazraoui of Bayern Munich. Take out the fact that Mazraoui used to play under Ten Hag at Ajax.
You're joking. Not another one?
But why would United replace Wan-Bissaka with this guy? Well, with Wan-Bissaka, you know you are getting one of the very best at shutting down an opposition winger, and he'll do it on the biggest of stages. You've seen it in the Carabao Cup, comes on at half-time when Dalot was struggling up against St. Maximin. He comes on and completely shuts him down. Against Doku in the FA Cup final last year, the guy put on an absolute clinic in how to defend in one-on-one situations. And with the ball, Wan-Bissaka definitely has some neat plays in his playbook. But does all this mean that United should be keeping this guy around? Well,
it's not that simple.
I don't quite think so. My problem with this sort of, I'm going to call it a swap deal, it's not a direct one, but it kind of is. My beef with the whole issue is going to be that it's not selling Wan-Bissaka. I can understand why United are looking to do that. But my problem is with who United really want to be replacing him with. That's where my issues lie. And when you take all the sentiment out of it, I can definitely see why United are looking to sell Wan-Bissaka. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's 26 years of age. And despite having those good traits that I've mentioned, are they really traits that's really suited to a very top team? Should United be relying on a fullback that can completely lock down an opposition winger? We won that recent cup final, yes, it was brilliant day. But we all know that to sustainably win games in the Premier League and to look to win the biggest of titles, to play that way that we did up against Man City, that's never going to be sustainable. It doesn't look like United want to build up structure that relies on quick short passes and in order to progress the ball, and that's where Wan-Bissaka, he really does thrive. And we want fullbacks now that can reliably invert in the midfield, during part of that build-up. As part of Ten Hag's fluid build-up structure, is that suited to Wan-Bissaka? Ask yourself that. But it doesn't mean that he's a bad player. It just means that he might not be suited to Ten Hag's current style of play. I fully expect him to be an asset to West Ham. But again, is that a real reason to keep hold of him? Fans want this team to evolve. And this is a sign, I think, of United doing this deal that we are trying to evolve. So why are we so against that? In terms of what Mazraoui can bring and my sort of problems with it, he does kind of give you that modern fullback, the sort of very similar to Dalot's current role at United. Of course, that injury record is an issue, but the people defending Wan-Bissaka, he's hardly been reliable to this squad over the last few years either, with his injury record. Mazraoui's quick feet allow him to retain possession, and he can beat players when he is pressed. He has both speed and technical security to make him a good ball carrier. An area where he really shines, particularly over Wan-Bissaka, is going to be in his passing. He's comfortable playing passes off either foot, and this ability to play on both sides of defence, I think, can help United massively. We know Malacia is still going to be out for another couple of months. On the pre-season tour, Amas has done very, very well, but it's clear that he's not quite ready for Premier League football. So give him that time to develop now. Let him get a couple of minutes in the sort of cup competitions. But Mazraoui can play in that left-back spot, and he can deputise to Luke Shaw for a little bit at the start of the season. Watching Wan-Bissaka play at left-back last season almost made my eyes bleed. In 1v1s defensively, Mazraoui has very good pace, so he's got that recovery pace on him. But the trouble with him is he can struggle sometimes with pacey wingers, because sometimes he doesn't orientate his body position right. So that's going to be a major area where the downsides are going to be there compared to Wan-Bissaka. But as I've said, you don't want to be really relying on that one-on-one defending as much as we have been in recent seasons. And overall, I do understand United moving on from Wan-Bissaka, but I just don't think Mazraoui is that big of an upgrade to really make this transfer really worthwhile. But you can see why United are doing it. Ten Hag needs ridiculously high technical levels in order to coach his football. We've seen that last season. People were saying it, obviously, due to injuries, United completely had to scrap a lot of what Ten Hag was trying to do. So now he's trying to raise the floor of this squad to get everyone sort of playing on the same page. People complaining that Mazraoui is too similar to Dalot. But you need that sometimes. If you're going to... Obviously, last season we saw that as soon as Dalot or someone was out, we struggled to play how Ten Hag wanted us to. So bringing in players like Mazraoui would allow us to continue playing that style of football, how Ten Hag wants us. So why do you not want that? For everyone saying that Ineos need to back Ten Hag, I suppose this signing is doing exactly that. Another thing that worries me is going to be United have offered him a 5-year deal. Like, when your plan is to eventually have a Mass starting at left back, you've got Dalot as a long-term starter at right back. That injury record is a very worrying concern, and he's not exactly a young player either. So to give him a 5-year contract, maybe if the wages are not sky high, then I'd be okay with it. But that kind of sums up my thoughts on this deal. I can understand you wanted to sell Wan-Bissaka, but in terms of bringing Mazraoui in, I'm okay with it. And that's pretty much it. I'm not ecstatic. I'm okay with it.